Hey everyone! For today's video, I would like to show you how I made these beautiful lantern inspired earrings. And yeah, they're just so pretty. Actually, they're not really heavy, even though they have round beads inside them. And I hope you could make a pair yourself and you would enjoy this tutorial, so stick around.
Yummy!
Okay, so here are the materials that we are going to need. So first we are going to have our beads, two different colors. This one is white shell and the other one is OP red sphinx, and both are size 11. These are glass beads. And then we are also going to need three different kinds of pliers. So this is the one for cutting our wire, and this is the one, of course, the long nose pliers, and this is the one for making loops. And then we are going to need our beading thread. This is Aslan size D. And then we have our beading needle size 11 and gauge 22 or 22 gauge, however you say it, beading wire. And then we have here our two round beads. Actually, the packaging doesn't say the size of this, but I took measurement and it is 1.5 inches circumference. And then we have here these pins, and we are going to need 6 of them. And of course we have our earring hooks, 2 of them. And yeah, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to do is to bead our needle, and we would need about 40 inches of our beading thread. And I forgot to mention earlier that you would need your scissors. So yeah, we have our scissors and we are going to thread our needle. And then we are going to pick up 4 of these reddish beads, and then we are going to pull them through, leaving about 2 inches of thread for the tail. We're going to use that later to tie ends together. And then we're going to insert our needle through these 4 beads and again pull them through. And now we have this, and then we are just going to make like a square shape, just like that. And then we are going to tie the ends. So what I like to do is I like to go left over right, pull, and then right over left, and then pull. And then we are going to cut this tail, leaving about a centimeter or 2, just like that. And then now we are going to insert our needle through the hole of this first bead on the left, right here. So we're going to do that. So this is, by the way, the knot. And then you are going to insert your needle through the hole of the bead on its left. Okay, so we're gonna do that. And then we are going to need white bead, and then we're going to insert our needle through the hole of the next reddish bead. I should just call it red bead from now on. Okay, and then we are going to do the same for this gap over here, this one here, and the next one there. So basically we're going to fill the gaps, and we're going to alternate these, right? Like over here you can see red, white, red, and then we're gonna do white, red, so just alternate colors. Okay. Okay, so now you should have something like this, and as you can see, the colors are alternating. And don't worry about this thread right here. This is just a part of the tail. We're gonna hide that later. And so now your thread should be on the last white bead right here. Okay. And then what we're gonna do is we are going to fill the gaps on all sides. So we have the gaps here, 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 and here. So every time we fill the gaps, we are going to need 2 white beads, and we're going to do just that. I have here 2 white beads, and we are going to, oops, let me just flip it over, sorry. Okay, so we're going to insert our needle through the hole of this white bead here. Okay, and you're going to do the same for all sides. Okay, so this is done, or the third row at least is done, and you should have something like this. So it will look just a little bit confusing, but trust me, once you get a hang of it, it will look very easy. And now, like I said, we are done with the third row. So your thread should be right now, right here. This is the last bead of our second row. And this is here the first bead, the bead, the white bead that sticks out. This is the start of the third row that we just did to fill those gaps with 2 beads. So this is the very first bead right here. So your thread, after filling all the gaps, so oops, sorry. So these are all the gaps that we filled right here, or at least the beads that we used to fill the gaps. So we have here 2, 2, 2 right here, and then 2 over here. So you will notice that those beads, they all stick out. So that actually is a third row. So now, like I said, we are going to see our needle right here. This is the last bead of the second row, and then to start the next row, the fourth row that is, we are going to insert our needle right here. This is the first bead in the third row. Okay. Okay, so we're now going to insert our needle through that white bead right there, and then we are going to pick just one red bead, so right here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fill the gaps again. So we have it right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So basically we are going to alternate the colors again. So we are going to use, for this row, we're going to use red beads. So 1 bead each time. So we have that there, and then the next one here. And then the next one. So basically we are going to alternate colors again this time. Okay, like that, and then we're going to continue until we reach this side over here. Okay, so now you should have something like this. It will look better and better each time, and it will make more sense as we go along. So as you can see, we have alternated our colors. So we have the red, white, red, white, red, white. And then again, we have the bead right here. This is the white bead is our last, is the previous row, the third row. And that is the last bead right there. So our needle, and our thread, I'm sorry, is right there. So now we are going to again put or insert our needle through the hole of this first bead, the red one, for our fourth row. And now we are going, oops, sorry. So now we are going to make our next row, which is, by the way, every time we go along, you will notice that we have to always put our needle and our thread through the first bead of the current row. So every single time, whatever that bead that sticks out, we are going to put our needle and our thread there, okay? Okay, now we are going to need 2 white beads to fill the gaps of these sides right here. So 2 over here, 2 here, 2 white beads, 2, 2, and 2, 2 all around. And you may have noticed that we are going to use 2 white beads to fill the gaps because this is the part where we are increasing the size of our base, and then we are going to need 1 red bead each time. So now we're going to pick up 2 white beads, and then we're going to insert our needle through the whole of that next red bead right there, and then we are going to do the same thing until we reach this side right here. Okay, so after filling the gaps with 2 white beads, you should have something like this. And now we are going to bring our needle and our thread right here. So we're going to insert our needle through the first bead to the left of our red bead over here, because again we are going to start another row, and this is the bead that sticks out, and this is the beginning bead of our current row. And like I said earlier, we're always going to do that. So now we are going to pick 1 red bead, and then we are going to, now this time we're not going to alternate the colors. We're actually going to insert our needle through these first 3 beads here. So we have the white, the red, and the white bead. So 3 beads in total. We're going to insert our needle there and pull it through. Just like that. And we're going to do the same thing over here. So we are going to pick up 1 red bead, and then we are going to insert our needle through this white bead, red bead, and white bead. Okay, so white, red, and white, and then pull it through. You gotta fix it. There you go. And also, just a warning, it can get tight, and if that happens, you can always use one of your pliers like this just to help me pull the needle. And yeah, we're going to do the same process until we reach this part right here. Okay, so now you should have something like this. And as you may have noticed, I have gone ahead and brought my thread through this red bead over here. Actually, this is this is where it's supposed to be, the white bead right next to it. But like I said, every time we have to start another row, we are going to bring our thread through that first bead that sticks out. And so now we are going to fill the gaps again. So we are going to need 2 beads each time to fill the gaps. And these sides here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we are going to do that. Okay, 2 beads, white, and then insert your needle through that red bead and do the same thing until you reach this side right here. Okay, so when you're finally done, you will have something like this. So this is where our thread is supposed to be, and of course we're going to start another row. So we're going to bring our thread and needle through this very first bead right next to it. Okay, so all this time so far, what we've been doing is that we've been increasing the size of our base, and now we are going to work our way up So we're not going to increase anymore. We're just going to work its way up. So now what we're going to do is we are going to pull this so that, okay, pull it tight so that you will have something like this. So it looks like the base of a ball. So just pull it tight and use your now fingers to hold it like this so that it will take a shape of a circle. Trust me, it will have its shape later, so everything will make sense. So now what we're going to do is we're going to repeat the last two steps that we did. So we're going to get or pick up one red bead, and then we're going to fill the gaps here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to insert our needle through these first three beads again. So white, red, and white. It's almost the same. It's really the same as the process that we I think that two steps before, you know, we fill the gaps with white. And now we're going to do the same thing. So pick up one red bead, and then our needle, and I mean our thread is right here in between these two white beads that we just used to fill up the gaps. So now we're going to insert our needle through the white, the red, and the white one again. So basically what we did was, remember when we filled the gaps with two beads, now we're going to put our red beads in between these two beads that we used right there. So the idea is that we are going to separate these two beads right here, and that's where we're gonna put all our red beads. And as you can see, it is taking a pattern just like that, and just keep pulling it tight. Not too tight because we don't want to break our thread. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing again. Pick up one red bead. Okay, insert our needle through the white, the red, and the other white beads. So three beads right there. So now our red bead is in between those two beads. So repeat the process until you reach the last gap, and I will see you. Okay, so now we are going to fill our last gap right here. So I'm inserting my needle through these white, red, and white beads, but then we are going to make another row. So I'm going also to insert our needle through the other red bead right there. Okay, oops. Just gonna make sure that it is done properly. I got my thread cut right there. Okay, so now we have something like this. Again, keep pulling, and then we are going to fill the gaps again with two white beads each time. So pick up two white beads, insert your needle through this red bead right here that sticks out. Oops, sorry, it keeps sliding down. Okay, so we are going to insert our needle there, and we are going to do the same process. Okay, we're going to insert our needle through this bead right here, over here, all those red beads that stick out, and until we reach this side over here. Okay, so now we reached the last red bead right there, so that's where our thread is. And now we're gonna bring our thread again in between these two white beads. We're gonna start another row, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to fill we're going to use a red bead to fill these gaps in between the two beads that we just did, just like the previous step. So now we're going to pick just one red bead, and then insert your needle through this white bead, red bead, and another white bead. Okay, and then you're going to continue the process until we reach the last red bead over here, or white I should say, and I'll see ya. Okay, so here it is now, and you are going to repeat the process about 3 more times, and until it is big enough to accommodate this round bead that we have. So actually we should make this right here, the walls of these beads, high enough to reach this side over here. And again, about 3 more times, and I'll see ya. Okay, so just as a recap of what we have done so far, we are just using 2 steps that we did earlier. So we're filling the gaps with 2 white beads, 2 white beads, 2 white beads all the way around. And then after that, we use 1 red bead to fill the gaps in between these 2 white beads by inserting our needle through the first 3 beads right there. And also what I'd like to do is that I like to use the round bead as a guide, so I actually leave it there and just push it down, and as I go along I know for sure when to stop, so I just keep that again as a guide while I do the process. Every time I pull it tight, it also gets tight around the round bead, and that really helps. Okay, so now we have this. It should be enough so that it will cover the top when needed. And then we ended with 2 white beads as fillers. So now we are going to start with a new row. This time we are going to decrease our size. So as you may have noticed, from the very bottom we started increasing for our base, and then we worked our way up by using those 2 steps that we did. And then now we are going to start decreasing, and in order to do that we are going to once again fill the gaps in between these 2 white beads with the red bead. And then this time though, we are not going to insert our needle through the 3 beads next to it. So instead of inserting our needle through this white, red, and white, we're going to skip this red bead over here. So we're just going to insert our needle through this white bead over here and the white bead right there. Okay, so instead of 3 beads, we're going to skip the red one. We're going to insert our needle through those 2 white beads right there. So we're going to pull that through. Okay, and then pull it tight. Okay, again, red bead, insert your needle through this white and the white bead next to the red one right there. So again, skip the red bead because we are going to start decreasing in size, and we're going to do the same thing until we reach this side over here. Okay, so now you should have something like this. Okay, so now we are going to keep decreasing. We are going to fill these gaps here in between these red beads. So we are going to fill these gaps by using just 1 white bead this time. So I brought my thread and this through this bead right here, the red one, because we're going to start another row. And then we're going to insert our needle through this next red bead that sticks out, and there's that. So we are going to do the same thing until we reach this side here. Again, only 1 bead each time. And we're on to the last gap. Insert your needle right there, the red bead, and pull it through. And then we are going to start another row. So we're going to insert our needle first through that white bead right next to it as a rule. That's what we've been doing so far. Okay, so now we have the white beads sticking out. So we are now going to fill the gaps here using another white bead, and again one bead each time, but this time instead of just inserting your needle through just one hole here or one hole there, so what we're going to do is we're going to pick up one white bead, and you may be wondering why it's white and not red, and because we're following the same pattern over here. And so we're going to do the same thing here just to make them even. So we have here our white bead. We're going to insert our needle through this white bead here and this white bead there. Again, we are going to decrease, that's why we are doing that. So again, 2 white beads right there. Skip the red bead in between. Pull it through. Pick up another white bead. Okay, so your needle is, your thread is right here. So insert your needle through this next white bead and the other white bead right there. Okay, so 2 white beads that are sticking out. So you should have 4 of these actually once you're done. So just keep doing it. Okay, again, 1 white bead. Oops, can't do that. Okay, and then the next white bead right there, and our last bead. So 1 bead there, and the next white bead over there. Okay, so now we are done with that row. So once again, you should have 4 sticking out. This one, that one, and the other one. So now our thread is right here. This is the last bead of the previous row. So we're gonna do, again, insert your needle through that bead that sticks out of the current row that we have. And then we are going to start the last row, which this time we're going to be using these red beads. Okay, so we are going to insert, okay, first we're going to pick up 1 red bead, and then we are going to insert our needle through this next white bead right here. So basically we're skipping all those. Again, we are going to only insert our needle through the holes of the beads that are sticking out. There's only 4 of them. So this is the first one. Okay, right there, and then another red bead, and the one that sticks out is right here. That's the second one. Pull it through, pull it tight. Another red bead. Oops, I lost it. Okay, again, find that white bead that sticks out, and it's right here. Okay, and our last red bead, and this is the white bead that we are going to be inserting our needle through. So you have that. So you have here 4 red beads and the white ones just like the one right here where we started. And again, just pull it through and leave that hole right there, because that is where we're going to insert our beading wire in a bit. Okay, so now we are going to secure this by tying it. Of course, what I do is I also first reinforce that by inserting the needle through a few beads, and then I usually do a knot here and there. Like maybe for this one here, I can do a knot. Okay. Okay, and just pull it tight. And then insert our needle again in through a few beads, and just to hide that. And if you want to make it even more secure, you can make another knot here. And so basically this is just making sure that your ball is not gonna come undone after all that hard work. Okay, so oops. Okay, and maybe one last thing is that I'm going to hide that knot, and I'm just going to insert my needle right there and use your scissors to cut it. Okay. Okay, so now that we are done making this a ball, now we are going to use our beading wire, again 22 in gauge, and we are going to actually create this loop over here, and it goes through like here from the bottom and then up here. So we are going to do just that. So now we are going to need about 4 inches of this wire. Okay, and then use your other pliers to cut it. You can sand it if you want to make sure that the ends are not too sharp, but sometimes I don't because I hide it anyway. And then now we are going to need this round nose pliers. Okay, and I usually would go about maybe an inch, a little over an inch, I would say, and just start making a loop. Okay. And then I will just use this other pliers and keep that in place while I use the other one to just make sure that I'm pulling it tight. You can use your hands to do this, but I prefer using pliers because it helps me make sure that my loop is tight. I do about 2 full round right there, and then I'm going to cut it and oops, cut it some more, and then just press on that end right there just to hide it, and so the sharp end doesn't stick out. Okay, so we have that loop, and then we are going to insert this one. We are going to start from the where we started, like here. I know we started here and then going up. Okay, and then now we're gonna create another loop up here. So what we're gonna do is once again I'm going to use these pliers. Okay, and then just bend it like that, and then I'm going to make a loop, pull it back. Okay, and then I usually use this other pliers right here to just pull it, make sure that that is tight. Okay, and then now we have that. Once again, I'm going to use this kind of pliers to just keep that in place, and use the other round pliers to just pull it and turn it. Okay, I have that now. Then I'm going to use my other pliers to just cut it. Okay, and then we are going to again press on that. Okay, so now we have made loops, bottom and up. And this time we are going to use these 3 pins, and we're going to actually bead these pins. We're going to put 10 beads in each pin, and I will see you when it's done. And now I have my pins with 10 beads each, and then I'm going to just cut part of this, and I would leave about 1 centimeter. So I have, because I'm gonna make a loop, and I would need about this much for my loop. So now we're going to need these round pliers. Put that in the middle and make that loop. Okay. And now we are going to just make that a little gap right there. And then we are going to put that right here. And we are going to attach that actually. Okay. Just make sure it's tight. Okay. So now we have one right there at one, I don't really know how you call it. So you attach this one, and then we are going to do the same thing for the other 2. Okay, so again, cut that and leave about centimeter right there. Make a loop, just pull it back a little bit. Then we are going to just open it up, insert it, close it up, and we have another one. And I will do this one, and I'll see you. Okay, so now I have attached these 3 straight beads, and as you can see, they look so pretty right now. And then the last part is that we are going to attach our earring hook right here. And then what we're gonna do is we are going to just open this earring hook just a little bit, and then just put it in there and close it up. And now we have our first earring, and we're just gonna do the other one. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you would like and subscribe for our next videos. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.